Decision creates action. Indecision creates nothing. Nothing at all, really. Now, these were the words that came to me earlier today. I was waiting in line, I was waiting for my coffee, and I heard someone asking a group of friends, where do you want to, I don't even know how it began. I just heard the response. I presume it was, where do you want to go next? What do you want to do? And they said, I don't know, I don't really mind. I'm good for anything. I'm up for anything. I could do anything at all. I don't really mind what we do. And I thought to myself, what a profoundly useless thing to say. Because what that does, if we're all operating like that, I don't know, I don't mind, what about you? What do you want to do? I don't know. We'll never, ever, ever get anywhere. No decisions will get made. No actions will be taken. And I talk about this a great deal with my ADHD coaching clients. I talk about this kind of phenomenon all the time because people with ADHD, there's so much going on, there's a lot of noise. We can easily get caught up in this analysis paralysis, this decision-making abyss. And especially when it's very important to us because of our crushed self-esteem and whatever, things I've talked about a billion times. To get it right, we don't want to do the wrong thing. We don't want to disappoint people. So, oh God, the pressure, better just be neutral, better just be Switzerland. But the thing is that when you're in that indecisive, flowing energy of nothingness, it's excruciating. It's excruciating for yourself and it's excruciating to be around. And like I said before, nothing ever transpires, nothing gets done. So what I have become very aware of and try to practice more and more myself is to just be decisive, even if it's wrong. Because in my experience, in my own life and as a coach, 9 times out of 10, the wrong decision is still better than no decision. And that's something that people don't seem to comprehend. There's this idea that, oh, I must make sure that I know exactly where I'm headed and it's the perfect direction before I commit. And first of all, that's nonsense. We'll never know the future. We'll never know the correct course of action. And 2, when you're like that, you spend lifetimes waiting. Because how will you ever know when you've picked the right thing? You can't. So you pick nothing. And nothing ever changes. So even if, and this is an important thing to grasp, a lot of the people that I work with, they want some change in some form or another. There's some dissatisfaction or something they're looking to see improvement in. Therefore, they want change. They therefore want something different and therefore things to not be as they have been. And not taking action, not making decisions is one of the surefire ways to stay where you are. So that's the thing that we must change. And the way that I work through this with people, with clients in practice, is to encourage them to start taking action, making decisions and following through on them, even if those decisions are rubbish, and seeing where that takes them. For example, if someone says, hey, Jack, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? And I'll go, what about boiled soggy cabbages? Now, in my opinion, that's a shitty decision. I don't want that. That sucks to me as a meal. However, a decision has been made and the value of that is now there's something I can respond to. There's an actual thing that exists that I can react against. Now, because a choice has been made, a bad one, I can say no, not that. And somehow, through having the option that we don't want, it's easier to make a comparison and a suggestion to the thing we might like. How about tacos? Just occurred to me when you said that horrible thing I don't want. Actually, turns out I'm a lot clearer on what I do want than I thought. And it's only when push comes to shove and I'm faced with decisions I don't want to be a part of, then I might step up. So what if we just did that first? What if we just said, here's my choice, and wow, that's a bad one, but let's do it. And then people can respond, or we could even respond and say, no, I'm going to choose deliberately differently now. And sometimes you won't. Sometimes you follow through with it, But at least you've eaten something, you've done something, and that's something else ticked off that you don't need to worry about. Because truly, if we don't decide anything, nothing really changes. And almost always, wherever you could go, it's going to give you more information and most likely be ultimately more valuable to you than staying where you are. So that's something I'd encourage you to play with and to think about. Now, there are some circumstances where it is good to be indecisive. But usually that's only when the situation, your position, is already pretty fantastic. For example, I already have really awesome dinner plans. It might take a lot for me to decide something else. Maybe I'm talking about my business. Now, if I'm growing a business or starting it, or my business is doing very poorly, then it is in my interest to do anything, to do lots of things, to try lots of stuff, to throw things at the wall and see what lands, and to just make decisions about what to do and then do them. That serves in those cases because the risk-reward return is extremely high. The risk is low because things are already not great or non-existent. The return could be something, which is way better than nothing. But if a business is in a good, strong, established position, then you can make wrong decisions more easily, and that's when you should be more indecisive. In a way, I mean, it's going to get semantic very quickly. Even deciding not to act is still a decision. Anyway, I just want to create and counter some of those niche fringe cases that people often bring up is when they're trying to cling to an old habitual way of thinking. Oh, but what about in this super specific scenario that doesn't even apply to me? What about then, Jack? Then your model doesn't work. Therefore, I should be allowed to be indecisive constantly. It's not the case. I'm bringing things up that people might often raise as objections to get rid of them because they're nonsense. And if you're stuck or things aren't where you'd like them to be, just fucking choose something and do it and just move. Because the only thing you can't afford to do is nothing. So choose something, anything at all. Choose it decisively. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. You can change your mind or do the opposite later. You've always got options. Thank you for your time. This brings us to the end of yet another video. If you enjoyed this, if you made it this far, please hit like and subscribe. Because I do make a new video every single day. ADHD or otherwise, life, anything in general. I'd love for you to see what else I have to share with you. Thank you for your time. Go well, be decisive. See you in the next one.